A waitress's terrified gasp cuts through the bar noise as a drunk businessman grabs her arm, but before anyone can react, 5 leather-clad bikers rise from their corner table, patches gleaming. What happens next when a group of Hell's Angels decides to teach a lesson about respect, boundaries, and unexpected brotherhood? The evening sun painted the sky orange as cars and trucks zoomed past Mike's highway stop. The bar sat just off Route 40, its neon beer signs glowing in the growing darkness. Inside, country music played from an old jukebox in the corner, while the smell of fried food and spilled beer filled the air. Lisa wiped sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, and her black t-shirt had the bar's logo on it. She'd been on her feet for 10 hours already, but she still had 3 more to go. 2 burgers and a chicken basket for table 5, she called through the kitchen window before grabbing a tray of cold beers. As she moved between tables, Lisa's eyes caught the corner booth where they always sat. 5 men in worn leather jackets with patches and faded jeans. The Hell's Angels. Most people in town were scared of them, but in the 3 years Lisa had worked here, they'd never caused trouble. They tipped well and kept to themselves, showing up every Thursday like clockwork. "How are you boys doing tonight?" Lisa asked, dropping off fresh napkins. The oldest one, Gray, nodded at her with respect in his eyes. "Just fine, miss. Appreciate you checking." His beard was streaked with silver, and the lines around his eyes told stories of hard miles on the road. Lisa touched the leather band on her wrist, the last gift her dad gave her before cancer took him 2 years ago. "I'm here if you need anything else." The weight of double shifts was worth it. Every dollar brought her closer to nursing school. The application sat filled out on her kitchen table, waiting for the courage to mail it. At the bar, a man in a rumpled business suit knocked back another whiskey. His red tie hung loose around his neck, and his eyes followed Lisa's every move. He'd shown up 2 hours ago, already half drunk and talking too loud. "Hey, sweetheart, another round over here," he called out, waving his empty glass. Something about the way he looked at her made Lisa's skin crawl. It reminded her of her mom's last boyfriend, the one who left bruises that took weeks to fade. Mike, the owner, frowned from behind the bar. "That guy giving you trouble?" he asked quietly when Lisa came to place an order. "Nothing I can't handle," she said, though her heart beat faster when the man's eyes locked on hers again. She'd dealt with drunks before. It was part of the job. The man slid off his bar stool, stumbling slightly as he blocked her path to the kitchen. "What's your name, pretty thing?" His breath reeked of whiskey and something sour. "Lisa, and I need to get by, sir." She kept her voice firm, the way she'd learned to do. "Lisa," he repeated, swaying slightly. "I'm just passing through town. Thought maybe you could show me around after you get off." From the corner booth, Lisa noticed Gray and his friends watching. They didn't move, but their attention was fixed on the drunk businessman. One of them, a younger man with a buzz cut, straightened slightly in his seat. Lisa stepped around the drunk man. "Sorry, I can't. Big day tomorrow." As she walked away, she felt his eyes burning into her back. The jukebox switched to a slower song, and for a moment, the bar seemed quieter than before, like the calm before a storm. The clock on the wall ticked past 10 as the bar grew louder. Lisa's feet ached in her worn sneakers as she balanced 3 plates of nachos along her arm. The nursing school brochure peeked from her apron pocket, a reminder of why she pushed through nights like this. Her mom had laughed when Lisa first mentioned becoming a nurse. "People like us don't get to have dreams like that," she'd said. But the memory of holding her father's hand in the hospital, watching nurses bring him comfort in his final days, burned stronger than any doubt. The drunk businessman had moved from the bar to a small table near the walkway to the kitchen. His tie now hung completely undone around his neck, and his sixth, or maybe seventh, whiskey sat half empty before him. Each time Lisa passed, his eyes followed her like a hungry animal. "You know, you're too pretty to be working in a dump like this," he called out as she hurried past with a tray of dirty dishes. A few heads turned at his loud voice, but most of the regulars kept to their conversations. This wasn't the first time they'd seen a traveler get too friendly with the waitstaff. Lisa felt her cheeks grow hot, but kept walking. In the kitchen, she took a deep breath and pressed her back against the cool metal fridge. 3 more hours, then home to her small apartment where her cat and nursing application waited. The application fee had taken 3 weeks of tips to save, and tomorrow was the last day to mail it. "You okay?" asked Denise, the cook, looking up from the grill. "Yeah, just another drunk who thinks a tip means he owns me." Lisa straightened her shirt and picked up a fresh order. When she pushed through the swinging door, the businessman was standing directly in her path. He swayed slightly, his eyes unfocused. "Been trying to talk to you all night," he slurred. "Don't you know how to treat a customer?" Lisa stepped to the side. "Sir, please go back to your table." "Sir?" he mocked, stepping closer. "I'm trying to be nice here. Most girls would be happy for the attention." His words brought back a flood of memories. Her mother's boyfriend grabbing her arm when she was 16, the sound of breaking glass. The week she missed school because of the bruises. Lisa clutched her tray tighter. "I need to deliver this food while it's hot." The man's face darkened. "Don't walk away when I'm talking to you." From across the room, Gray and the other Hells Angels watched silently. The youngest one shifted, but Gray placed a hand on his shoulder, keeping him seated. Not yet. Lisa managed to slide past the drunk man, dropping off the food at a nearby table. Her hands trembled slightly as she set down the plates. The leather band on her wrist seemed to tighten, her father's voice echoing in her memory. "Stand your ground, Lizzie, but know when to ask for help." Mike noticed the tension from behind the bar and started making his way around, but he was caught by a group asking for their bill. The drunk man's patience was wearing thin. As Lisa passed him again, his hand shot out, grabbing her forearm in a tight grip that would leave marks. "I'm talking to you," he hissed, pulling her closer. The tray in her other hand clattered to the floor, glasses shattering on impact. The bar fell silent, every head turning toward the sound. Time seemed to freeze as the crash of broken glass echoed through the bar. Lisa felt the man's fingers digging into her skin, his hot breath on her face. Fear bubbled up inside her chest, making it hard to breathe. The jukebox played on, but nobody was listening anymore. "Let go of me," Lisa said, her voice stronger than she felt inside. She tried to pull away, but his grip tightened, leaving white marks on her skin. "Not until you show some respect," the man growled. His eyes were red and angry, like a wild animal's. "I've been nice all night, and you've been ignoring me." The sound of chairs scraping across the floor cut through the tense silence. One by one, the 5 men from the corner booth stood up. Their leather jackets creaked as they moved, the patches on their backs catching the dim light. The Hells Angels patches seemed to glow as the men formed a line, their heavy boots thudding against the wooden floor. Gray, the oldest angel with his silver-streaked beard, led the way. The others followed. Buzz with his shaved head, Tank who stood taller than everyone in the room, Hawk with his sharp eyes, and Doc who moved with a careful calm. They didn't rush, each step measured and sure, like they had all the time in the world. The bar went so quiet you could hear the ice melting in drinks. Regulars who knew the Angels sat still, while newcomers shifted nervously in their seats. A truck driver at the bar slowly set down his beer, watching the scene unfold. "You're going to let go of the lady now." Gray's voice wasn't loud, but it filled the room. He stopped 3 steps away from the drunk man, his weathered hands hanging loose at his sides. The businessman blinked, suddenly aware of the 5 large men surrounding him. His eyes darted to their jackets, taking in the patches, the worn leather, the silent threat. His grip on Lisa's arm loosened slightly, but he didn't let go. "This ain't your business," he stammered, trying to sound tough. "This is between me and her." Hawk stepped forward, his face hard as stone. "Anyone who puts hands on someone without asking makes it our business." His voice was quiet but sharp, like a knife. Tank moved to Lisa's side, his massive frame blocking the businessman from the rest of the bar. "You okay, miss?" he asked, his eyes never leaving the drunk man's face. Lisa nodded, feeling safer with the Angels around her. The smell of leather and motor oil mixed with the bar's usual scent of beer and fried food. Doc reached into his pocket and pulled out something that flashed in the light. A police badge. "I'm off duty," he said, his voice calm and official. "But I'd hate to call my colleagues." The badge disappeared back into his pocket as quickly as it had appeared. The drunk man's face went pale. His fingers finally released Lisa's arm, leaving red marks behind. "I didn't mean anything by it," he mumbled, shrinking under the Angel's steady gaze. "Just having some fun." "Fun stops when someone says no," Gray said. His eyes were cold, holding years of seeing too much on the open road. "Buzz, Tank, why don't you help this gentleman find his way outside? I think he needs some fresh air." The businessman looked around wildly, hoping for help, but found none. The bartender, the customers, even the cook who had peeked out from the kitchen, all watched in silent approval as Buzz and Tank each took one of the man's arms. "Wait, my tab," the drunk protested weakly. Gray pulled a 50 from his wallet and placed it on the bar. "Consider it paid. Now go sleep it off somewhere else." The front door closed with a firm thud as Buzz and Tank escorted the businessman into the cool night air. Slowly, the bar came back to life. The jukebox seemed louder now, playing an old country song about second chances. Lisa's hands shook as she bent down to pick up the broken glass. But Gray stopped her with a gentle gesture. "Let Mike handle that," he said, his voice softer than before. "Why don't you sit down for a minute?" Mike appeared with a broom and a reassuring nod. "Take 5, Lisa. I've got this." Lisa sank into a chair at the Angel's table, rubbing her arm where red marks showed the shape of fingers. Doc slid a glass of water toward her. "Drink this," he said. "It'll help with the shock." The water was cold and clear, washing away the tight feeling in her throat. "Thank you," Lisa whispered, looking around at the men who had stepped in to help her. Up close, their faces told stories, scars and lines earned through hard years on the road. Gray settled back into his seat across from her. "My sister was a waitress," he explained, running a thumb over an old ring on his finger. "Before she joined the Angels. Saw too many men like that one think a woman serving drinks meant serving herself up too." His eyes were kind despite his rough appearance. "She rides with you now?" Lisa asked, her breathing steadier. Gray nodded. 15 years now. Leads her own chapter 3 states over. Pride warmed his voice. "We watch out for our own." Hawk pushed a small plate of fries toward Lisa. "Eat something. Food helps after trouble. The salt and warmth of the fries brought Lisa back to herself. Outside, they could hear Tank and Buzz talking to the businessman, their voices firm but calm, making sure he found a taxi instead of his car keys. "I appreciate what you did," Lisa said, touching the leather band on her wrist. "My dad always said to stand my ground, but—" "Your dad sounds like a smart man," Gray said. "He was." Lisa's eyes dropped to the nursing school brochure that had fallen from her pocket during the commotion. Doc picked it up, glancing at the pages before handing it back. "Nursing, huh?" he asked. "Good choice." Lisa tucked the brochure away. "If I can afford it. The application fee alone took forever to save up." The Angels exchanged looks. Doc cleared his throat. "Our chapter runs a scholarship for women looking to better themselves, especially those who've faced difficulties." "A scholarship?" Lisa repeated, not sure she'd heard right. Gray nodded. "The Hells Angels Women's Empowerment Fund. My sister started it years ago." He pulled a card from his wallet and slid it across the table. "Application deadline isn't for 2 weeks." Weeks later, Lisa served the Angels their usual beers. The bar felt different now. Safer, somehow. The leather band on her wrist caught the light as she set down their drinks. "On the house tonight," she said, smiling. Gray raised his glass in a silent toast. Lisa patted the pocket of her apron, feeling 2 important papers inside: her nursing school acceptance letter and the scholarship application with the Hells Angels logo across the top. "I mail it tomorrow," she said, answering Gray's unasked question. "Thank you." "Don't thank us," Gray replied, his weathered face creasing into a smile. "Just pay it forward someday." Outside, beyond the neon glow of Mike's highway stop, the endless road stretched under a blanket of stars. The same road that had brought trouble could also bring new beginnings. Lisa watched through the window as a group of motorcycles thundered past, their riders leaning into the curves like they were dancing with the night. Sometimes protection came from unexpected places, and sometimes family was found, not born into. The Angels raised their glasses again as Lisa turned back to her work, standing a little taller now, her path a little clearer than before.